On this week's show, pace target classes for the Peloton tread are being tested, and third-party rowers now work with the Peloton app. Plus, a new partnership with TrueMed to use HSA and FSA to money. Camila Ramon is teaching dance cardio, and much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and John Pruitt.
Welcome to episode 170 of Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the community by the community. I'm Chris, your host this week, and we are not joined by John or Amanda because none of our schedules worked out to be together, so I'm going a little rogue this week, and we're doing just a quick episode to catch everyone up. Next week, everyone should be back together, and you should be back to having John and Amanda, but for this week, we're just going to do a quick episode. Yeah, we missed last week, so let's just go through this week real quick. Before we begin, we'd like to remind everyone we're on all podcast networks. Yeah, just wherever you get your podcasts, search for Pelo Buddy TV, you'll find us. We're also on YouTube if you like to watch the video episode. We're also on all social media channels. Just search for Pelo Buddy and you'll find us and get real-time updates there as we have them throughout the week. And with that, let's get on with the show.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
And our top story this week is that the Peloton has been testing pace targets for the Peloton tread. This is the same style of classes that is taught on the Peloton rower. Rather than calling out a numerical number for your speed, the instructors will instead call out a range, a name for the pace. So rather than say you're going to jog from a 4 to a 7, the instructor might say you're going to go at a moderate pace, but not give a number. There are 4 of those ranges that are being tested. They range from recovery, easy, moderate, challenging, hard, very hard, and max. And again, throughout the entire class, they'll only call out one of those names. Before you start the class, you will pick a difficulty level from a 1 to 10, and based on that difficulty level, will map your that pace target to a number. So for example, if you pick a level 1, they call it a moderate, it will say, for example, that you should go from a 4 to a 7. If you pick a level 2, that same moderate should be from a 4.5 to a 7.5, and so on. You're asked to tell them your fastest mile pace, and based on that, they will map you to one of the 10 levels. If you change your mind, you can change what level you're at. But this is a way for them to, kind of map the training to everyone's personal levels. And again, this is kind of the way they've been doing it for all the rowing classes. So they're bringing that style to the tread. And this is a test they did just in the test for the first group of beta testers. There were 10 classes available for members. They were taught by Bex Gentry, Jermaine Johnson, Jocelyn Thompson-Rule, Matt Wilpers. And if this sounds similar to Power Zone training, it's similar but different. With the Power Zone, you take an FTP test and you have an exact number, and based on that exact number, you're then given your ranges or your zones. Here, you're not being given an exact zone based on a single number. You're picking one of 10 levels, so everyone's going to fall into those 10 levels, whereas Power Zone, there's an infinite number of possibilities because it's based on your exact FTP. So it's slightly different. But some of the same principles. There was a hint that true Power Zone training could be coming as well. Christine posted a video of her husband on a Peloton tread talking about him doing a 20-minute FTP test. So it's possible there could be a second, beta test going on for true Power Zone training and FTP training. Or it could just be that her husband is doing personalized training and he has a coach and they told him to do an FTP test and he did it on the tread. So it's not an actual FTP test on the tread. It's him just doing a 20-minute FTP test to any class. And then his personal coach is using that to give him, guidance for his training. So we don't know which that is yet, but we do know there was tests for pace target classes, 10 classes, those coaches. The first round just closed, and separately, that video from Christine about Power Zone for tread could be nothing, or it could be a hint there's a second set of tests going on. In other news, the Peloton rowing classes now work with third-party rowers. Similar to the feature that rolled out the other month for Peloton tread classes, the rower now supports Bluetooth FTMS, so it can connect with third-party rowers and read the stats and record them to your workouts in the Peloton app. This does require the App Plus membership, the higher cost $25 ones, and it does require a rower that supports Bluetooth FTMS. The big question, most people have always wanted is Concept 2, and that does work with some of the newer PM5 monitors. The very old PM5 monitors, it may not work, so it requires slightly newer ones within the last 5 or so years. You'll have to double check. There's a list of firmwares that support that, but some of the most modern Concept 2 rowers do now connect with the Bluetooth, with the Peloton app, and are able to support and broadcast their stats to that. In other news, Peloton has a new partnership with a company called TrueMed, and this is a way for potential members and people looking at buying Peloton to potentially use HSA and FSA funds in order to buy a Peloton. Typically, to use HSA and FSA, it has to be a medical necessity to buy any equipment. And Peloton has partnered with TrueMed to try to make it easier for people to qualify for that. They've set up a form on TrueMed's site where you go and you fill out some information, answer, what sort of medical needs you have or issues. And then based on that, TrueMed might send you what's called the letter of medical necessity. And with that, you are able to submit that to your FSA or HSA provider, showing that you have that need. There's still a lot of hoops to jump through, and it's not a guarantee they'll accept that. So it might be worth reaching out to your provider first if you're thinking about this, or at least before buying it, once you get the letter of medical necessity, just to make sure that they're going to accept it and they don't have any further documentation needed. But this is a way that might get more people to buy Peloton if they're able to use those HSA and FSA funds. We had a new instructor discipline this week. Camila Ramon was announced as a dance cardio coach. On Monday, 2 new classes from Camila dropped with dance cardio. There were 6 classes in total that dropped this week. This was the first time Camila had taught, but in addition, there are also classes from Rebecca Kennedy and Cody Rigsby who have taught that in the past. This was the first 2 seasons of dance cardio where they went away for a week and all the instructors, taught together. But this is the newer style they've been doing where it's just the coach in the studio teaching it by themselves. But Camilla's done 2 so far, and we're sure she'll have more in the future. Another new feature that came out in the last 2 weeks is there is now Just Workout. You are able to use that feature offline. So you can now, if you're completely away from the internet for a day, you can use the Just Workout feature totally offline. It used to be that you required a minimal amount of internet to connect to that and start a workout. You wouldn't need it once you started the workout, but just to start it. But this doesn't work on things like cruise ships or if you're out in the woods with no reception at all. But now you can, with no connection at all, start it. It says that you can still track the activity while offline. The workouts will sync to your profile when you're back online. If you open the app when you're completely offline, it'll actually show you that on the homepage and guide you to that feature. There's still some questions on whether it will backdate the blue dot and count towards your streak. Yeah, so if you're, counting on that for a streak, you might want to do some tests first to make sure that it's going to keep your streak going for you, but that'll be a welcome feature to many members. And other new feature news, the Peloton Guide got a few new features this week. The first is actually a bug fix, but for the last 2 or 3 months, the Peloton Guide was not able to connect to the 2 to 3 minute live pre-show before classes. They were only able to join once the 1 minute countdown had started, but as of the last 1 or 2 weeks, the Peloton Guide can now reconnect, and members on the guide can join the pre-show, see those extra shout outs and those few moments before the record gets going. And for a completely new feature, the Peloton Guide now has a history tab where that you can go in and compare previous workouts that you've done, just kind of compare them to each other and get an analysis of how your workout compared to the one before it. Speaking of bugs, there have been a couple new ones in the last 2 weeks. A big one has been related to high fives, and Peloton finally created an official outage for it. Just saying they're looking into some members are not being able to receive high fives. So if you've been wondering if that's why nobody has been high-fiving you, it is a bug. As of the time of recording, it's still open. They haven't posted an update that they've found to fix yet. They're still investigating it. And the bug that was open and closed was related to the Apple heart rate, the Apple Watch, and it being used as a heart rate monitor. There was an issue where the Apple Watch would say it was connected to Peloton devices, but then it was not actually broadcasting the stats. So it'd say it was connected, but on your Peloton tread or whatever, it would just say 0 and not record it. They have found the fix for that and rolled it out, so that should be working again. Another bug that is not fixed yet, it's called the no metrics bug, and that's for the original Peloton Bike. Even though all the cables are plugged in, it's just showing 0 for your cadence, your resistance, and all your stats. They recommend doing a factory reset if all your cords are plugged in. And if that does not fix it, to contact Peloton to get a service technician to fix it. At this time, I'm not sure whether that's, included for free or they're going to charge you for that. And there's no ETA on a complete fix for that right now. The status is just, if you're having issues, talk to us and we'll look at sending a technician out. In some class news, Peloton has launched what they are calling the Spring Treasure Hunt, which came out this week. And this is where their phrasing was, our Spring Treasure Hunt is on. Check out these new classes where instructors will drop riddles that point you to past classes in our on-demand library. Find them to earn the badge. And essentially, in classes that are coming out this week, the instructors will say, I have a clue to an old class, give you a clue. You have to go find that random old class, take it, and by taking that old class, you earn a badge. You don't have to take the new one and the old one, you just have to take the old one. There's dozens of these that are coming out where they're giving new clues and they all point to different old classes. On the Pelo Buddy website, we have a list of all the new classes where they're going to be dropping clues, and you can take those. The clue is somewhere in the class. Some have been in the middle, some have been at the end, and you go take the old class. We also, at the bottom of the article, are making a list of what the clues point to, which is essentially the answer to the riddle. So if you just want to get the badge, you can head over to our website, find the old class, take it, and earn that badge. This week, Peloton also announced who their artist series are going to be for the month of April. We always find this out on the last Thursday of the month when they put the April artist series up on the booking website. Next month, there are going to be 3 artist series because, as a reminder, the studios will be closed part of the month for a spring closure. But the 3 artist series are going to be Jose Gonzalez, which is on April 4th, Aerosmith, which is on April 11th, and Fred Again, which is on April 25th. We also had 2 artist series take place over the past 2 weeks. On March 21st, we had an artist series with Troy Sivan, and there were 4 classes in that series. In addition, on March 28th, there was a Cardi B artist series which had 7 classes in it. Also this week, we had a bunch of new scenic classes that were instructor-led come out, but these were a little bit different than what we're used to. Typically, for the instructor-led scenic classes, the instructor is actually flying to the location and they're recording the coach on the location, running at whatever spot they're talking about, and you're seeing the coach as they're talking. This time they were actually audio only scenic classes, so they were narrated by the instructor. So you're looking at standard scenic footage of a location, but there's an instructor narrating and guiding you as you go along. There were 6 of these. There's a Barcelona by Jeffrey, there's a Portugal by Mila, there's a Munich, Germany by Tobias, there's Dolomites, Italy by Marcel Marr, there's Crete, Greece by John Hosking, and there's a Japan one by Jocelyn Thompson-Rule. This is actually the second time they've done this. The first, they kind of quietly dropped them for Susie Chan's Badwater 135 documentary. After the documentary came out, they released 2 narrated audio ones from Badwater as well. So this is the second time trying this. We're not sure if this is the new standard they're going to do going forward. It could save money versus flying the instructors out there, or just a way for them to get it out there more quickly. There is a new audio guided scenic collection on the Tread and Tread Plus that has these 6 new ones. At the time we're recording, they haven't added Susie's 2 classes yet, but we assume they will. And even though these are audio guided, they still are counted as scenic runs, so they are exclusive to the Tread and Tread Plus. Peloton also has a new partnership 2 weeks ago with Def Jam Recording. This was in honor of the 40th anniversary of the record label. They had three special classes that were released as part of this. There was a strength with Jermaine, there was a run with Kirsten, and there was a ride with Robin. So all those are now available in the on-demand library. We also have some new German content. There was a brand new German foam rolling collection, and Asal and Nico have taught those. So we've had foam rolling for a long time in English, but this was the first time that they're available in German. And these are true German classes. They're not dubbed like they've been doing with some of the other ones. So there's 6 classes to start from. We expect they'll be adding more in the future. We also had St. Patrick's Day a couple weeks ago, and Peloton released a couple special St. Patrick's Day classes as straight to the on-demand library on that day. There were 4 classes. Tobias, Kristen, Jocelyn, and Bradley all taught those classes. And we also had another iteration of the NBA classes at Peloton. McCall Bridges made an appearance on March 28th. He did a 20-minute run with Jess Sims, and this was the second time they've had an NBA player come in as part of what they're calling their third quarter series. And this is, they've got 4 NBA ambassadors now that they announced a couple weeks ago, and this is part of the bigger NBA partnership that they're doing. So we probably expect in the coming weeks and months that the other 2 players will come in and do classes in the studio as well. For the endurance runners and people who like long runs in general, Vex Gentry had a new 75-minute run that was released this weekend. It was on March 30th, and it is a 75-minute pop run. Coming up, Mariana Fernandez also has a 90-minute run on the schedule that will be on May 2nd, and that will be at 6:30 p.m., and that will be a 90-minute run. And several of the instructors have meet and greets coming up. Sam Yo is actually going to Australia, and there was kind of a short notice. It was announced this week, but he'll be there on April 2nd at 5:30 p.m. It will be at the Bondi Junction showroom in Sydney. It's a free event. You do have to RSVP to get a spot. At the time we're recording, there were still spots. By the time this comes out, I'm not sure, but go ahead. We've got the link to RSVP in the show notes if you want to try to go to that. Unofficial, not Peloton promoted meet and greet will be hosted with Andy Spear. He'll be at the Tampa Bay Rays baseball game on June 29th. It's against the Washington Nationals, and there's kind of a couple different tiers you can do. There's a $59 package you can get, which gets you the meet and greet, or there's a $79 package, which gets you the meet and greet as well as what they're calling an on-field workout with Andy. They didn't say too much about that. That second one is sold out. You can check back to see if they might release more closer in. And both of those packages do get you a ticket to watch the game as well. Amazon had their spring sale this month, and the Peloton Guide was on deep discount again. It was $95, which is the cheapest we've ever seen it. It wasn't quite as good as the deal we saw from Amazon. Saw from Peloton over President's Day weekend. That was but included a package with 2 sets of weights. This is a, $95 is cheaper, but it doesn't get you those extra weights. But if you've been looking for the guide, this might be a good time to pick that up. Amazon was also having a sale on bikes and accessories as well, but those weren't discounted 50% off like the Peloton Guide. Some news for Australia. Australia has launched a buyback program or a trade-in program where you're able to trade in third-party equipment and get an extra discount on your Peloton. There's currently a sale in Australia where you can get up to $500 off the treads and bikes. But on top of that, if you trade in any third-party equipment, can't be Peloton. So you can't trade in a bike for a tread, but if you trade in any type of third-party connected fitness, you can get an extra $100 off the sale. It does stack on top of it, so that can bump you to $600 off. They got a full list of what is accepted and what isn't, so you can check that out if you want the full details. That will be running until April 8th. And they say the third-party equipment that you are trading in will be recycled. In addition, in Australia, they have a new partnership with AIA Insurance and AIA Vitality. Now, they've got a couple of those insurance partnerships in the US, but this is their first big one in Australia. You're able to earn what they call vitality points by working out. In addition, the AIA insurance members are able to get a 25% off discount on the purchase of a new Peloton bike. And Peloton continued their class purges the past 2 weeks. They purged one day 2 weeks ago. They purged one day this week. Last week, they did December 18th. This week, they did December 19th. Both had around a dozen or so classes purged. But again, this is like week 6 or 7 of them doing a purge of 1 day each week. So we'll see how long they continue that. But we have the list of classes they saved for those days on our website if you're interested. In the UK, Peloton is bringing their partnership with Sports TNJ to the country. They launched this partnership in Germany and Austria, and that is now coming to the UK. In the UK, they operate under the brand Powerhouse Fitness. So Peloton equipment will now be available online at all of their locations at Powerhouse Fitness. There's a launch sale going on to celebrate the new partnership with a discount on Peloton equipment, and the Powerhouse Fitness locations are now all available on the Peloton showroom finder in the UK. There's either 7 or 9 of them, I believe. In apparel news, first off, there was a spring apparel sale, and you were able to get 40% off a lot of different apparel. Peloton's been having a lot of these sales here and there. This was just the next iteration of it. Their spring sale, it was going on at the time of recording still, so you can go get 40% off. In addition, Peloton is bringing their Peloton Studios branded apparel that says Peloton Studios New York or Peloton Studios London, and those are available online. Previously, you had to be at the studios in either New York or London to get them, but now you can just order them online and have them shipped to yourself. And we wanted to wish a happy birthday to Jeffrey McEachern, whose birthday was last week, and Bex Gentry, who had a birthday this week. And now it's time for Instructor in the News. First off, Jermaine Johnson announced that he is going to be a father, so congratulations to Jermaine. He and his partner posted some photos with the news. There was a t-shirt that said, "My daddy is stronger than yours," and an ultrasound shirt. He didn't share many details besides that, other than saying he was going to be a father, so congrats to them. And then Tunde shared that she was on season 2 of Life and Beth on Hulu. She posted a video on her Instagram account showing her watching it. So it was just fun to see a short little clip of Tunde acting in that TV show, and that's, again, Life and Beth on Hulu. John Hosking shared this week that he's going back and modeling again. Don't worry, this doesn't mean he's leaving Peloton. It's just what he's going to do with his free time outside of work. He's going back to his old modeling agency, Next Management in London. He worked with them before he was at Peloton, so he's rejoining and dipping his toes back into the water of modeling again. Hannah Frankson announced that she's going to be running the London Marathon. She had kind of teased the news a month or two ago, but now she's come out and officially said it. She's going to be fundraising for a charity called Refuge, which is the largest domestic abuse organization in the United Kingdom. So good luck to Hannah and that, which is next just a couple weeks now. And 2 weekends ago, we had a lot of coaches who are out and about running half marathons and marathons in New York City. There was Tunde, Selena, Kirsten, Rad, and Kristen McGee all ran the New York City half marathon. And then out in LA, Jeffrey McEachern ran the LA marathon. So congrats to all of them. While they were running, Marcelle Dinkins was actually hosting a marathon. She was hosting the Shamrock Marathon, which is this is her second or third year, I believe, in a row of her hosting the marathon. Emma Lovewell is hinting at a new project she is working on. She shared that she was in Texas and she was filming with Joanna Gaines. She shared, kind of a behind the scenes of them and that we're working on and excited about a new project. So we'll have to see what comes from that in the near future. Leanne Hinsby was in the news a couple times. She was on the Give Me Strength podcast, and she talked about her life's journey, going back to her days of dancing all the way up to Peloton, the death of her friend, and Leanne's own battle with breast cancer. And she talked about the impact of these events on her life, and how she's just trying to inspire others to embrace resilience, understand the importance of health, and appreciate the small wins in life. In addition, she had an interview in Women's Health magazine, and in that interview kind of focused about her training for the London Marathon, which is, as we said a few minutes ago, coming up very, very soon. And finally, Allie Love was on a podcast called The Huddle with John Furner, who is the CEO of Walmart. And it talks about, again, her personal journey and passion for health. And then they go into how she's using her platform to motivate others and kind of how she's built a Love Squad, which is, they say, it provides women of all backgrounds with community and career development resources. And with that, it is time for class picks of the week. And again, since we missed last week, we did post the pics last week on our social media channels, but if you missed them, we'll have them at the very bottom of the show notes of this episode. We'll put the class pics for this week's first, but if you scroll past this week's, you'll be able to see last week's if you didn't see them when we posted them on social media. But for this week, we're starting with Aditi Shah, her 20-minute R&B slow flow from the 21st. This was from Amajar 3, who said it was a great way to unwind with a great playlist. We have Cody Rigsby and his 30-minute Troye Sivan ride from the 21st from Bare Necessity, who said great music and energy. We have Jess King and the 45-minute techno ride from March 22nd at 9 a.m. This was from Naughton Boy 91, who said it was a fun, awesome, challenging all-in-one. Next, we have Kristen McGee and her 20-minute 80s Pilates ride from the 22nd at 9 from Almajar 3, who said killer playlist. We then have Anna Greenberg, a 30-minute evening yoga flow, March 22nd at 5:30 p.m. Eastern from Almajar 3, who said it was pure bliss. Next up is John Hoskins' 45-minute intervals run from March 23rd at 5:30 a.m. Eastern. This was from Daisy Mack, who said perfect class plan, great studio energy. He really pushed you. I hit my fastest pace in this class. We then have Bradley Rose's 30-minute country ride from March 23rd at 8 a.m. from Almajar 3. There's a great Rose's Rebel Studio takeover and fun country playlist as well. And I just wanted to thank the Rose's Rebel. I was actually in the studio for both of those previous ones as part of the Rose's Rebel takeover. So thanks to the Rose's Rebels for letting me join in on that takeover. Had a great time, and it was great to meet everyone there. And Amanda, I'm sure would echo those same sentiments since she was in those classes as well. And next we have Rebecca Kennedy and her 45-minute hike from March 23rd at 9 a.m. Eastern. This was from Sisu Rise and DBC. They said it was a hot girl hike formatting and killer playlist, good and encouraging vibes. We have Andy Spear, 30-minute 90s run from March 23rd at 11 a.m. Eastern from Red Strong 82, who said it was an incredible 90s rock playlist. We have Olivia Amato and a 30-minute pop punk ride from March 23rd at 12:30 p.m. Eastern from Amajar 3, who said fun to see pop punk rides from Olivia and a great playlist. We have Selena Samuela and her 30-minute intervals run from March 23rd at 1:30 p.m. Eastern from Thunder Homes, who said another solid endurance run from Selena with an entire playlist curated to help you run at target running cadence of 180 without having to think about it. Some great hits across the decades and endurance running race day tips thrown in from her. We then have Hannah Corbin in her 30-minute bar class from the 25th at 9:30 a.m. from Amajar 3, who said great bun burner. Rad Lopez and his 20-minute upper body strength from March 25th at 1 p.m. from Julie MJ, who said the playlist was great, classes were challenging, and good endurance burned the end. Bookmark to take again. We then have Allie Love in our 30-minute Hidden Hills ride from the 26th at 6 a.m. from Love Squad Peloton, who said this is part of the treasure hunt, so extra fun to find out what class she was referring to afterwards. We then have Bex Gentry in her 30-minute Fem Power run from the 26th at 5 p.m. from MN Trisha, who said amazing playlist and a focus on empowering women. Logan Aldridge and his 30-minute country run from March 27th at Eastern from Bertha C. Runs MD, who said the playlist had an unexpected twist. The songs were all covers by a country artist or country songs covered by non-country artists. What a treat. We then have Irene Kamer's 45-minute house ride in German from March 27th at 2:30 p.m. from Anna Riviera, who said it was great just because she is back. And finally, we have Alex Karwalski in his 30-minute endurance row from March 27th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. This is from Jackie K22, who said a fun playlist that is all TV show and movie soundtrack songs. This is also his last live for a bit. And with that, that is our show for the week. I hope everyone made it through. Apologies for not having John and Amanda and having to deal with just me, but tried to keep it short and to the point, and Amanda and John and everyone should be back next week, and we should be back to our regular format. Thanks for tuning in this week, and from me here, not in Atlanta, but see you next time, and thanks for listening. Bye.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your source for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us using the Pelo Buddy TV leaderboard tag, and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget that we have a podcast available so that you can listen to us while on the move. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV on any major platform and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.